I've worked with hundreds of coaches scaling from 10K a month to 100K a month, and I found exactly 3 differentiators from the 10K a month coach to the 100K a month coach I'm going to share with you in this video. And no, it has nothing to do with the offer or how hard they work. Actually, I found that the 100K a month coaches are actually working less. Difference number one is going to be lead quantity versus lead quality. The 10K a month people are literally chasing every lead that comes in. They have no kind of lead scoring system, and they think that as soon as somebody gives them their name, email, phone number, well, then they're qualified enough to work with them. I'd say that for these people, 50% plus of the calls that are on their calendar are unqualified, meaning that they shouldn't be on the calendar in the first place, and so they're wasting 50% of their time every single day, and they just chalk it up to, oh, I have to have a 10% close rate, or it's standard to have a 20% close rate, instead of optimizing more for buyers. The number one objection that these 10K a month coaches are getting is, I need to think about it. Because they have no nurturing or pre-qualification process in place, every single person is getting on the call, even if they aren't ready to buy in the near future. If I had to illustrate in a pie chart how the 10K a month coaches are spending their time with their leads, I'd say that they're probably spending about 80% of their time with tire kickers and only 20% of their time with buyers. Let's look at the 100K a month coach. The 100K a month coach has a systemic pre-qualification process. Systemic means that it relies on systems, aka it's the same for every lead that comes through, and it doesn't depend on the founder. 100K a month coaches are only talking to people who are pre-sold, aka they're looking for quality. In one of my portfolio companies, we take on average 2 to 3 sales calls a day, but that company does over $400,000 a month in cash because of the price point of the product, but also because we have such brutal qualification process that we're only speaking with people who are essentially ready to buy. They also have cutthroat calendar questions. What I mean by this is that they don't let anybody get on the calendar. They are literally going to ask people, hey, how much money are you currently making? Is now the right time to move forward? On a scale of 1 to 10, if the price was right, how likely are you to move forward today? And they cancel out anybody who falls underneath a specific threshold. And so sure, are you going to get less booked appointments on your calendar by having this process than you would otherwise? Absolutely. But if you're able to close at a 40% or 50% rate, you're essentially buying back 50% of your time and still making the same amount of money. And 100K a month coaches use content to nurture. So a few great examples of this is going to be obviously these YouTube videos that I create here. It's going to be the newsletter and the emails that we send out to our list. It's going to be the transfer of trust calls that we give our prospects after they book a call to speak with us, that transfers trust from me to the salesperson. It's going to be the thank you page video that we use. It's going to be the pre-call text that comes from our salesperson that uses some kind of personalization to increase the show up rate. All of these are getting more and more exposure to our content, our brand, the salesperson, so that way that person's way more likely to show up and close on that call. If I had to illustrate the 100K a month coaches ideology when it comes to leads, it's that they are looking for better versus more. Difference number two is founder dependent versus systems dependent. For your 10K a month coaches, every single decision runs through them. In short, they are the bottleneck in their company. They're also very limited by brain power. And I mean this in 2 different areas. In one area, they're limited by brain power because the founder's brain power is exhausted throughout the day. They have to make so many decisions and everybody's coming to them for the answers that by the time it comes to doing the things that actually matter, the big things that move the needle, they're too exhausted to make those decisions, and so they push them off to the next day. The other area I think they're limited by brain power is when it comes to how much knowledge the founder already has. You see, if you're the smartest person inside your company, well, that's not really a great thing because you're always going to be limited by what you don't know. But when you start having better team members on board that know more in specific areas than you do, well, now you're going to grow way faster because you don't have to bother yourself to worry about those things. That's why they're there in the first place. There's almost never any kind of sales pipeline or CRM, which means that these 10K a month coaches are missing out on an additional 20% to 50% revenue they can be generating every month from longer term follow-up. In short, 10K a month coaches are typically very much do-it-yourselfers, meaning that they want to take on everybody's job for them, or they have a bunch of hows, not whos, meaning that they have people who are going to be able to actually execute something, but they're not able to execute it without the founder's involvement. Let's compare this to the 100K a month coaches. Every single 100K a month coach that I've worked with has predictable automated client acquisition systems. A lot of people throw around the words predictable or automated without really understanding what they mean. A predictable client acquisition system means that you can use it every single month. It is predictably going to get you roughly the same amount of calls that it did last month. Or if you put more inputs in, you're going to predictably get more inputs out. And automated means that it works without the founder or requires very little of the founder's time. A lot of people love to say that they have predictable automated client acquisition systems, and maybe they'll reference content that they create videos and that's how they get their clients. But in reality, is it predictable? Do you understand how many videos or how many views gets you one lead or one booked call or one client? Is it automated, meaning that do you have to do the research, the shooting of the video, the uploading of the content, the editing of it, the publishing it, the thumbnail design and creation, right? Or maybe on paid ads, if you're saying, oh, paid ads are a predictable automated client acquisition system. Well, are you the one that's having to create the ads themselves, upload them to Facebook Ads Manager, manage them every single day, turn them off with an eye KPI? If that's the case, then it's not automated. You're still doing a lot of work. I'm not saying that it's never going to be automated. You can definitely get to that point, but understand that most or all 100K coaches that I've spoken to have the majority of client acquisition off their plates, which includes sales calls and appointment setters. You see, with sales calls and appointment setters, most people are terrified to delegate this stuff out because they think that, oh, I'm going to hire somebody and they're going to close 10% worse than I would close. And that's true. There is a very good chance that the people that you hire are not going to do as good of a job as what you could do by yourself. But if you ever actually run the numbers of how many sales calls that you need to both book and take every single day to get to 100K a month, you almost are certainly going to need some form of a salesperson. For example, let's say you want to hit $100,000 a month and you sell something for $5,000. That means that you need to sell 20 units of that $5,000 thing to make $100,000 a month. Let's say you close at 20%. That means you need 100 taken calls in a month in order to hit 20 units sold at $5,000 for $100,000 in cash. But you need to make sure that you calculate in show-up rate. So let's say that you have a 75% show-up rate. That means you need 125 booked calls in order to get 100 taken calls in order to get 20 closed deals at $5,000 to hit $100,000 a month. 125 booked calls is roughly 6 calls a day, Monday through Friday, that you need in order to hit that $100,000 a month. And you asked me this question: if you are enrolling 20 new people a month, do you have the time to manage the operations and back-end fulfillments of your business and take 6 hours of calls every single day, Monday through Friday? Very likely not. So you're almost always going to need to be able to delegate out some of your sales calls in order to hit your first 100K month. The other thing 100K a month coaches have are almost always some kind of video sales letter or a webinar or some kind of marketing nurture material and deep nurturing sequences. Meaning that they understand that most of the money is not necessarily going to come from the first 3 days that somebody becomes a lead, but it's going to come from people that have been following your content for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I have people that we're closing today that have been following me for 4 years and they're becoming clients today. And I see people all the time out on the streets and they'll be like, hey, I watch your YouTube videos. Like, as soon as I save up enough money, I'm going to become a client of yours, right? And so all of this is happening in the background without me knowing it. And if I didn't have really solid nurturing sequences, then I wouldn't be able to capitalize on that additional revenue every single month. And of course, these 10K a month coaches are very short-term sighted. They're thinking, oh, I need to do whatever I can to generate leads and close them this month. Where the 100K a month coaches understand that they're going to be in this business for a while. And so they're building in systems and nurturing processes in order to make sure that people that become leads with very minimal effort on their part can easily become calls and clients within years to come. And the video sales letter is a key element here because you need to make sure that no matter where you're getting traffic from, whether it's paid ads, YouTube, Instagram, cold emails, somewhere, it could be from dozens of traffic sources, you want to make sure that it all flows through to one specific terminal point, which is typically going to be a VSL. So that way, by the time people get on the call, they're already pre-framed correctly. They understand who you are, what you do, what makes you different, how your services work. And so you're not trying to take a 45-minute call and shove all that information down somebody's throat, which is almost always going to lead them to be overwhelmed or book multiple calls and no-show you. And instead, they're coming pre-sold and they're more serious than curious, which obviously leads to higher show rates and higher close rates. A great test for this is what's known as the vacation test, which is where you're able to take off 7 to 14 days of work and come back, and your company has made as much or even more money than you would have made if you were there. And a great example is right now, we just bought and moved into our new lake house in Grayton Beach, Florida. That's where I'm shooting from right now. And I have been off the grid the entire week as we've been moving in and making adjustments here. And we've actually had one of the best weeks we've had all year, and our clients are being delivered upon because I'm a systems dependent founder, not a founder dependent founder. And the final difference is a content creator versus a category leader. You see, I think it's safe to say that every single coach, as long as you're not living under a rock, knows that they need to create content in order to compete in today's world, especially when you're selling something as intangible as coaching. Because what's the difference in you saying you're the best coach in the world and this person saying they're the best coach in the world? It really is going to come down to how much they trust you. And one of the best and fastest ways to gain trust is through content. And that's why we help so many of our clients with it as well. And so if you know that you need to be creating content, well, there's really two ways to create content. One is as a content creator, and the other is as a category leader. As you can imagine, the content creator one is going to be our 10K a month coaches. They just post to post. There's no real strategy behind it. They just know that they've watched enough videos and heard enough people say, oh, you need to post content. And people say, oh, just get started. And so they've just been posting one YouTube video a week or 2 reels a day for months without any real traction. And they wonder why they're not getting any results, but they don't stop to actually create a strategy around it. They're trying to get views, not trying to get buyers. So the predominant advice out there is, oh, just get the views and the buyers will come. And one thing that I've been preaching about for literally years, if you've seen any of my content, is no. Get the buyers and then the views will come. Meaning that you want to get very, very specific with who your content is for and what problems that it solves. That way, you're attracting those people. The algorithms and all the channels will find those people for you. It'll show them the videos. And then as you create better and better content for that specific person, it'll show it to more and more of those people. So for example, for us, we predominantly serve coaches, consultants, course creators, and agency owners that are anywhere from 10 to 30K a month trying to get to multiple 6 figures a month. And so all of my content is primarily focused around that, especially this video right here. And so then if this video does really well, then I could get potentially thousands or tens of thousands of my ideal avatar to watch this video, become a lead, book a call, and potentially work with me one-on-one. In short, 10K a month coaches are amateurs. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean, look at how you're approaching your content creation. Are you doing it all by yourself and just doing it randomly whenever you have time on a Sunday? Are you pulling your video ideas out of thin air or just copying somebody else because they got a lot of views? Are you posting just to post every single day because somebody told you to without taking the time to actually identify what's working, what's not, what's leading to calls and sales for your business? These are all amateur moves, and it shows in your content creation game. Instead, you need to focus on going pro, which takes us to our 100K a month coaches. 100K a month coaches only create content that speaks to their avatar. They are prioritizing buyers over views. You see, they've done the math and they know that if they sell something for $5,000, they don't need 50,000 views on that video to make some good money. They could legitimately get 100 or 200 views on that video. And if it is of their ideal avatar, and if it is a good video, and if it's showcasing them as the expert in the industry, and if it has a call to action, there's a good chance that they can convert even just a couple of those few hundred viewers. For our 100K a month coaches, every single piece of content has a purpose. They are strategic with how they're creating content. Let me give you an example. For one of our portfolio companies, one of the things that we do pretty consistently, because we're relying on content in order to fuel the company's growth, is we will take sales call transcripts. I will upload them inside of ChatGPT. We'll identify what are the main pain points that people are talking about, what are objection handlers that they're saying why they're not buying right away, what are their desires, and then we're creating YouTube videos and Instagram reels around that, so that way we can attract more people, pre-qualify them, and persuade them before they get on the call, and close more deals. So there's almost this feedback loop going on, and we're not just waking up and saying, oh, what do I feel like creating content on it? Or, oh, this got a lot of views. We're going to the source of the thing that we want most, which is sales calls, and we're recreating content from that. And every single 100K a month coach knows this, even if they don't tell you about it, and that is that long form is better than short form. Even the people that I see that are promoting Instagram, like, oh, Instagram's the best, Instagram DMs are all the best, look at their YouTube channel. Look at them starting to post content on there. Why would they do that? Why would they do that if Instagram was the best? Because they know that Instagram is no longer the best. YouTube is clearly the best channel in order to acquire high ticket clients. But of course, they can't just come around and all of a sudden be no longer the Instagram person and be the YouTube person. And so that they keep on kind of shilling this old game out there. But don't always just listen to what people say, pay attention to what they're doing. That's why I've been posting 2 videos a week on my YouTube channels for 4 years now. I literally have over 550 published videos because I know that I have generated over $10 million from my YouTube channel in high ticket sales. So why would I not double down on that further? You see, you need to build trust, like we talked about previously, with your prospects in order for them to choose you over the other coaches that are out there. And the best way to build trust is through content. And the best content to create is going to be long form content because that content is going to give them more time to consume your content. It's also going to last longer. Here's a quick data point for you. On average, your YouTube video will last 10 times longer than your Instagram reel. So if you're going to put effort into creating content, the 100K a month coaches know that it's a better return on their time and money if they invest that effort into long form content like YouTube. So in short, your 100K a month coaches are pros. They invest time, energy, and effort. They block off time on their calendar. They hire content researchers. They hire coaches to help them get better at it. They hire editors and thumbnail designers. They spend time thinking about how do I craft the hook and does this exact video speak to my ICP? Does it answer the questions that they have? Does it position me as the experts? And by becoming pro, they are in essence becoming category leaders. If you're a coach looking to scale to 100K months predictably and profitably, I invite you to go down below and book a call to speak with me or with my team members so we can walk you through how we can help you get there. Be sure to subscribe to my new channel, and if you have any questions, as always, drop them down below and I'll be sure to answer them.